All righty. Thank you everyone for joining us today and welcome to the Q2 Cleveland Hug. My name is Elizabeth Duran and Director of Operations at Reading North, formerly known as PR 2020. So we just finished an exciting rebrand and we're really excited to introduce you to our new brand. We are a digital marketing and consulting agency located in Cleveland, but we have team members across the country. We were HubSpot's first ever partner agency, and we also established the Cleveland Hug. So we're very excited to welcome you here today. So just quick, easy housekeeping stuff. Make sure you utilize the chat. This is an AMA, so this is where we're going to be looking to make sure that Kyle can see all of the questions that you asked today about Sales Hub. And then again, we'll be sending a recording after today's session. So I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker, Kyle. You know him, you love him. He is the senior inbound sales professor at HubSpot. So you've definitely taken any online course in the HubSpot Academy related to Sales Hub. He teaches and he's created and teaches certification courses on inbound sales, sales enablement, sales management, basically all things HubSpot Sales Hub. And his videos garner millions of views per year. I would add that if you do not follow Kyle online, I highly recommend that because there's lots of exclusive content that he also shares on LinkedIn. He's a husband, a father, an aspiring paperback novelist, and plays the saxophone and hopefully someday soon the piano. So to kick things off here, and then I will turn my screen off and turn it over to Kyle. If everyone here could tell us in the chat how well you know Sales Hub on a scale from 1 to 10, that'll give us a really good indicator to kind of kick things off, and Kyle can share maybe a favorite demo or a favorite tip that kind of aligns with where everyone's at in Sales Hub knowledge here before we kind of open up the flood of AMA style questions. Seeing an 8, another 8. Awesome. 3. Looks like we're kind of across the board here. I always get humbled. I feel that, Emma. All right. Looks like we have a pretty good starting point here. So I'll stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you, Kyle.
Awesome. I'm going to just see if I can move this chat over here so I can keep it open while I have Sales Hub full screen over there. I'll share my screen like so. Are you? Oh no, we can't access your screen. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Okay, this could be very bad. Okay. I'm gonna leave and come back. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. That would be the best solution. I will be right back. I promise. Okay, I'm so sorry.
We'll take a brief intermission. Thanks everyone for bearing with us.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, welcome back.
I apologize for that. I got a new computer recently, and Mac is very good about security, but it gets very suspicious anytime another program wants to be able to view my screen, and I had to restart Chrome in order for it to work. I don't know if it'll work. We will see.
Yeah, let's see what we can do here.
Is it working now?
It's working now. We can see you very
Okay. All
good.
right. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. So, looking at the chat, it looks like you all at least know what Sales Hub is. So you don't need me to like give you the overview of like a CRM is a thing to track your relationships with people and their contacts, companies, and deals. It sounds like you probably have that baseline thing. So I will just call out, how about 3 quick things that I think are really cool that I don't know that everyone necessarily knows about. First of all, here on the dashboard, of course, you can put HubSpot reports on the dashboard, but you can also embed other stuff, right? Like you can see here, I've embedded a Google presentation. I've embedded one of my LinkedIn posts. I've embedded a video. Honestly, like you can put pretty much anything on one of these. And it's super flexible. So you can pull in reports from other systems. You can put a lot of stuff on your dashboards. And so you can really craft these to be the home base for whatever your role is, whether you're in sales or marketing or leadership or whatever. You don't just limit yourself to HubSpot reports here. I think that's super important and something that's pretty unique to HubSpot dashboards. And then I also want to talk about Playbooks, because Playbooks for this long time was this enterprise only feature. They recently moved down to Sales Hub Professional, which is just fantastic. So Playbooks, actually, I'll just go to a contact and show you what Playbooks look like in action. So if you're working with this contact, Josh Groban here, my good friend, at least I dream he is. You can create playbooks that appear in this sidebar here, and if you have like a discovery call, you can create these interactive scripts, right? So you can put text here. You can actually embed pictures and videos here too. So if there's information you want like a sales rep or a service rep to review before they hop on a call, you can put that all here. And then the actual questions you want them to ask, you can just create these interactive buttons. So instead of having to type notes as they go, right here in the playbook, they ask this question: what are your goals this year? And people are like, oh yeah, we're not generating enough website traffic, or we don't know how to qualify leads for sales. Or if they say something you're not prepared for, you can type some notes here, and then you can just log this as a call, and it gets saved. And so in the pro version, this is the extent of what you can do. Super useful, super powerful. In the enterprise version, you can actually connect those interactive elements to properties. And so you can have all of that leading into properties that can then trigger workflows or can then update a deal or whatever you need it to do. I think Playbooks is one of the coolest tools inside of Sales Hub because it just makes it so easy for your reps to actually record the information you want them to record. Generally, anytime you ask a sales rep to fill in a field, you're going to have a fight on your hands. But this is a script, a call script. They love that. It's guidance that helps them do their job. And at the same time, you're collecting the data you need. And I said I'd show you 3 things. So third thing, how about I love the forecast tool. So this is a rapidly evolving area of Sales Hub. The way you set goals just got updated. A lot of the settings for forecasting just got updated. And so this is an area where you can get at a high level a look at how your different reps are performing against their goals. And if you're in a position to coach one of your sales reps, you can click into their current and see their deals that they have open right now. And so this guy only has closed deals, such an overachiever. Let's see if we can find a better example here. No, okay, I've closed all my deals. That's fine. But you can look at individual deals. You can add next steps here. You can talk about what needs to happen to move deals forward. So historically, Sales Hub, when we first started building it, we built it primarily from the sales rep's perspective. We wanted to make it easy and delightful and helpful for the sales rep to use a CRM. That's why we built the Gmail and Outlook integration very first. We wanted to just bring the tools to where reps would actually use them. We were hyper focused on that experience. Now that we've got a good baseline of those sales rep tools, we are now building on top of that this manager coaching experience to help the reps get to their next level. So that's how I'm thinking about Sales Hub right now. We have a good basis of rep focused tools. And now we're building the coaching elements on top of that. This is very much the reverse of what most CRMs do, where they're built so the VP of sales can get the reports they need. And it's a miserable experience for the reps, and they're just being browbeat all the time. You got to enter data into the fields, and it's a fight. We're trying to make it delightful for everyone involved. So hopefully those are just some of my favorite things right now about Sales Hub. This is an AMA session, so be dropping your questions into the chat, which I'm now looking at. And let me catch up here. Oh, Kathy. So I think I sort of answered your question. Playbooks is one of my favorite tools. Also, not easily demoable here, but the mobile app is awesome. I don't have a good way of showing that over Bevy here, the platform we're using. But inside the mobile app, there's this thing called the HubSpot keyboard. Works on both iOS and Android. You install this keyboard, and then if you are sending a text message, or if you're in WhatsApp, or if you're in LinkedIn, or if you're in whatever platform you use to communicate with people, you can access your snippets, your meeting links, your quotes, and just drop those right into the conversation, which is such a game changer for reps. So can't really demo that here. I apologize. But if you haven't checked out the HubSpot mobile app, it is just so incredible right now. And we have some really exciting things planned in the future. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, let's see. Could you share a smart use case of Playbooks that you've recently seen? This is such a powerful feature. And I'd love to think through some of the potential applications for a staffing client. Yes. So I earlier this year, I had two totally unrelated conversations with very smart HubSpot customers. And they both, just in the course of the conversation, told me they were doing the same thing that they had invented independently. This is not a thing that like HubSpot was encouraging anyone to do. It's just this really cool use case that people are making up for themselves. So here I am on a deal board. A deal board is for tracking your sales. You have these different columns representing the stages of your sales process. Hopefully you've customized these to match the actual steps that your sales reps are actually going through. And as you move a deal from one stage to the next, you can create required properties, right? So if at this stage of the process we want to know, I guess in this hypothetical example, what other competitors this prospect is considering, you can come in here and select some other competitor, and we can't move the deal. Like if I try to just delete out of that, the deal won't move into the next stage until I fill that in. What you can do with Playbooks, as I mentioned, you can have Playbooks, those interactive properties, those interactive fields feed into properties. What you can do is create scripts so that in each stage of this process, right? If I'm in the qualified to buy step of my sales process and I'm on a call with a rep, with a prospect, I can pull up my Playbook. It'll give me the qualified to buy questions. I can ask them, jot down the answers, pushing those interactive buttons. And then when I hit save, that will all feed into the properties that are required so that the rep doesn't have to do anything, right? They just come here, double check that the properties are filled in properly and save it. That's pretty cool, combining the deal stage required properties and the playbook. The next level thing that both of these HubSpot customers were doing was that for those required properties, in enterprise versions of HubSpot, you have field level permissions where you can give specific users or teams access or no access to edit specific properties. And so like that competitor property in an enterprise world, you can make it so sales reps can't update it. The only way they would be able to update it is through that playbook. So then they can't cheat, right? Like the only way to do it is in the course of that conversation. Then you can have workflows and things triggering stuff. You can get very complex with the properties in the background. And then the reps are only ever interacting with the playbook, basically, right? They follow these scripts that you've laid out for them. They're collecting the information as part of their job. And then they never have to think about it, right? You could even have workflows that automatically move the deal from one stage to the next. And it would just be the actions in the playbook driving that. The reps wouldn't have to manage anything. I get a little nervous about over automating stuff. I think in some ways it is healthy for reps to be responsible for moving their deals from one stage to the next. I think also for some reps, it's very satisfying to feel like I accomplished something. I made this deal move. But I think in certain organizations, it can be a great idea to take that off of the reps' plate, just have them interacting with playbooks as they have their calls, and then they can be confident that all the reporting and data, their quota calculation, all of that will just happen automatically in the background, and they don't have to worry about it. So there's that option there. I do give the caveat, like proceed with caution. Make sure you're not automating things that are going to confuse your sales reps. But basically, the sky's the limit as you build these playbooks. And again, in the professional version, you can't connect the interactive elements of playbooks to properties. But still, they are just such a powerful way to make sure your reps are having the same sorts of conversations, collecting the information they need All of that information, if you don't connect those to properties, will be stored on the timeline. And so the reps can look back at their call history. They can see like, oh yeah, these are the goals and challenges or the products or whatever it was we discussed. So next time I talk to this client, I'm up to speed on what we should focus on. So I hope that answers your question. Let me know if it didn't. How do you recommend sales and marketing teams use HubSpot for ABM? I love this question, Shannon. So a couple years ago, HubSpot made a big investment in adding ABM stuff to Sales Hub. And I don't know how widely known that is. But let me show you a couple of things. So first of all, there is under contacts, there's this target accounts section. So if you come here, a target account is just a property on the company record. I think it's a true false property. And so I have sort of randomly selected some of the companies here in this account, this test portal I have, and designated them as target accounts. And so here on this target accounts home page, I can see how many accounts I have. I can see how many of them have open deals. I can see the total value of those deals. And then there are buying roles, these default but customizable buying roles within HubSpot, which I'll show you in just a minute. You can see how many buying roles are defined and how many of these 21 target accounts are missing a decision maker. So 20 of them, this is terrible, it's dummy data, but like if you have 21 target accounts and on 20 of them you don't know who the decision maker is, well then it's pretty clear what your sales and marketing teams need to do, right? They need to identify those decision makers. So this is a really helpful page to just get a high level overview. We've also created some standard reports you can put on your dashboard that show like how your target account landscape looks. So this is kind of like piece number one of target accounts inside of HubSpot. If we go over to the company's page, okay, HubSpot is a target account. I should be able to remember that one. So we'll just search for HubSpot real quick. There it is. If we open it up in this right-hand sidebar, there's this account overview section, which gives me a really brief overview. It says this is a target account, and from right here, I can edit it to make it not a target account if I want to. It tells me how many contacts I have, how many buyer roles, how many blockers. I'll get to blockers in just a minute. And then it also tells me last engagement and last touch from my entire team, right? This isn't just the work I've done, but if there's a team of people inside of HubSpot reaching out, I can see like, oh, they submitted a form 21 days ago, and the last person to interact with them, I sent a tracked email 3 months ago, right? And then if you click this view account details, you get even more information. This bar slides, the sidebar slides out. You can see page views, number of contacts, email meeting logged. You would see non-zero numbers here. This was real data. But you can see a list of the contacts here, and here's where you can define their buying roles, right? So Courtney Sembler here. Here are the available default buyer roles. This is just a contact property, so you can edit these. But a blocker, that's someone who's getting in the way. Budget holder is the person who's in charge of the money. Champion is in favor of you. Decision maker is the one that you actually need to win over. End user might be separate from these, depending on what sort of product you're selling. Executive sponsor, influencer, legal and compliance, other. These are kind of typical buying roles inside an ABM strategy. This is a fine default to start with, but if you've really invested in ABM and you have a different sense of what that landscape looks like, who these buying roles are, then don't feel like you have to use this. But one person could be more than one thing, right? Like your decision maker might also be a blocker, and that could be a real problem, right? But they might or they could be the champion, right? And that would be really great. Whatever the case is, you can define that here, and that all rolls up, and you can see it at a high level on the other page I was showing you. And then internal stakeholders, this will show all the users in your account who are interacting with this account and what they've done, right? Like I've sent 23 emails, I've made 15 calls, 4 meetings, 1 task, but I haven't done anything for 3 months, and I have nothing scheduled in the future. Yikes. And then Katie, my wife, has made 1 call 2 years ago. We need to re-up our efforts in selling to HubSpot here. We'll see a full list of deals, full list of page views. So this is a really solid home base of who is working on this account, how they're interacting with them. and like where everyone stands, right? Like if this person here was, you know, a champion or the decision maker, maybe, but I haven't talked to them in 3 months. Last engagement was 21 days ago. Nothing scheduled for the future. We can really get a sense of like, well, we need to change how we're working here. And you can change. Right now, we're just looking at this month. We could look at all data, and then we would have more numbers here and stuff. But this is on every company record. This is this little target account area here that you can get to. So those are kind of the two big, I would say, features we added to HubSpot to support ABM. And then a lot of existing features can be used to support it. So I mentioned we have some standard reports. So if I just go to my dashboard, I don't remember if I have an ABM. Yeah, target account landscape. So this is a standard dashboard. We have a library of dashboards now that you can add. And this is not going to be very interesting because there's not very much data in this. But you can see a breakdown of buying roles by target accounts by industry, target accounts, annual revenue, number of employees, like all the things you might want to look at with your target accounts. You can get that here. And then in workflows, there are I think even like just a standard template. So in addition to the target account property, which is a true false property, it tells you whether this account is a target account or not. You can also there's an ICP, ideal customer profile tier property, and it's just tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. But you can create a workflow if you go to templates here. I'm pretty sure somewhere define an ideal customer profile, right? So we can start with this template, we'll create it, and this is just kind of like a starting point, right? You're going to define, you know, my target accounts are within these parameters, right? They have an annual revenue of something. They're located in a particular part of the world. They're in a particular industry. You don't have to use these 3 properties, right? These are good ones, but you can edit this, remove, add, however it is you define your ideal customer profile. And then use some branching logic to have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? So if you are targeting hospital and healthcare businesses in the United States that have an annual revenue above $1 million, you might define tier 1 as those that have more than $500 million or $50 million in revenue. Tier 2 is those that have more than 10 million. And then tier 3 is less than 10, but more than $1 million. And then this property gets updated automatically, right? So when it comes time for you to identify your next batch of target accounts, you can go into the companies page and you can filter. So we're just seeing tier 1 and like how many of these are not target accounts and set them. So I think those are the main ways to do ABM in HubSpot. That's top of mind for me anyway. If you have questions about any of that or want to see anything in more depth, let me know. I'm going to keep moving down the list here. So I mentioned this maybe before most of you got here. I have a daughter home from school sick today. She's watching Mr. Rogers like 6 feet away from me. She just turned it up because I talk loudly. So if you start hearing Won't You Be My Neighbor in the background, that's what's going on. If it's distracting, I can put on a headset. Just let me know. Back to the mobile app. Can you talk about the QR code and business card standing features in the HubSpot mobile app? Seems like a great feature for sales reps at conferences and trade shows, which are steadily moving back to in-person options. Yes. I can't demo it right now. I just discovered the Loom app. Loom, the video app. It has a really good app for phone. And so I have just recorded a video about the QR code. I'm going to be posting that to LinkedIn probably sometime next week. But to give you a sort of a non-visual overview, the mobile app for a long time, for as long as it's existed, has had this business card scanning feature. And so the way that works is you pull out your phone and you have a business card and you take a picture. And we have a little bit of AI that does its best to figure out like, oh, this is probably a name. This is probably an email address. This is probably a business name. And then it gives you its best guesses. And if it's wrong, you can remap it like, oh, that's not the first name. That's actually the business name or whatever. And then you save it and you get a contact inside your CRM. It's awesome. It works great. QR codes is a new thing. So right now, the QR code scanner only works for V cards. This was not a term I was familiar with. Maybe I'm just not very up on technology, but you know how in your phone you can store contacts? That contact file thing is called a V card. And it's actually very easy to go online to really any free QR code generator. And you can put your contact details in there. there's a first name field, last name field, company field, phone number field, email address field, all the fields you would expect on a contact record. And you can generate a QR code, and then you can put that on your business cards, and then people can scan it. And the idea is it will generate a contact in their phone, right? It'll in their contacts in their phone, it'll add a contact. With the new QR code scanning feature we just added to the mobile app, instead of adding it to your phone, where it'll only be on your phone, we're adding it to the CRM. And it's awesome. I tried it out. Like I said, I recorded a video that'll be publishing pretty soon. But it just like instantaneously gives you a contact record, and everything is mapped to the right fields. So that's really cool. I assume it takes a certain kind of technologically savvy person to create business cards that have that kind of QR code on it. It's been a long time since I've been to an in-person event. Maybe this is what business cards are like in 2022. I don't know. But I expect that this will become more and more common. And so if you are running in the sorts of crowds where people are handing you business cards that have words on one side and a QR code on the other, you can use the app, and instead of scanning the front where it's words, you can scan the back where it's QR code, and you will get everything. You'll basically get a fully functional contact record. In fact, the Josh Groban contact record we were on earlier, I got by scanning a QR code I made up for Josh. So it's pretty cool. It's way faster than the old business card scanner, which still works and is still great for traditional business cards, but it's just kind of a new option there. Which hub has the most powerful applications when combined with the features of Sales Hub? That's a great question. It depends on what you're looking for. I know it depends is like the worst answer ever. Probably in general, I would say Marketing Hub, just because Marketing Hub gives you so many cool things inside of like workflows and other places. But honestly, like Operations Hub, I know it's new. I know it's a little strange and scary, but like Operations Hub makes every hub better. And so like here in workflows, if you have Sales Hub, professional or above, you have workflows, you get a lead rotation action. And I'll just, not that we would actually want to use it in this particular workflow, but since we're here, you can rotate owner to, we're going to set the company owner to, we can choose specific people, or we can just rotate it evenly to the members of a team, right? And if we did this, then every company that came down this branch of the workflow would be evenly distributed, right? Team member number one on team A would get the first one, team member number two would get the second one, and so on. It would be evenly distributed. Some sales teams don't operate that way, right? Maybe you want your more experienced sales reps they have a higher capacity. Maybe your new reps are just onboarding. You want them to get like one or two and then cut them off. That would be very hard to do with just the standard rotate record to owner logic. But with Operations Hub, you have these custom code workflow actions, you have webhooks, you have data cleanliness, you have like just I don't know, workflows unchained, right? And then you can make your workflow do literally everything you want. It does require that you have someone who knows how to write either in Node.js or Python, which is a barrier to entry for some teams. I know I personally would not be able to write custom code workflow actions for you. But if you have like a developer type person on your team, then Operations Hub just gives you the ability to do whatever you want in HubSpot. Basically, all the limits go away. So that can be very powerful if you have that developer type person. If you don't, then I would say an answer to the question, probably Marketing Hub is going to give you the most, the best combination. But one thing that I just realized recently, I don't know how many people know this, but like if you have Marketing Hub Professional, let's say, and you have Sales Hub Professional, let's say, and you're thinking like, should I get Service Hub? Should we maybe try Operations Hub? The answer is no. You should just, there's this CRM platform practice or package where you get all 5 hubs for what would be cheaper than adding a third hub. So if you have 2 and you're thinking about adding a third, but you don't know what it should be, you should just get all 5 because that will actually be cheaper than adding a third. So weirdly, 5 hubs is cheaper than 3. That's kind of where the magic starts to work. So that's just a thing to keep in mind. Anyway, love the questions that are coming in. Sorry, I'm not keeping up here. Which hub? Okay, that's the one I just asked. Good stuff. Thank you. You're welcome. I like to teach reps how to use hold on. Whoa. Master all the sales tools before adding automation. Yes, John, I agree with you. I know you said this 14 minutes ago, and I probably talked about 7 different things since then. But yeah, I definitely recommend having a manual process before you automate anything, because automation only accelerates the process you have. And if your process is even a tiny bit off course, acceleration will just magnify that and send you way off course, right? So do it manually for until you know for certain you've got that process down perfectly. Then use automation to make it go faster, but don't jump straight to automation. Let's see. What if you're an event and media company and your marketers are focused on attendee revenue and your sales team is focused on sponsorship company revenue? Do you have any tips on how best to integrate our processes so I'm not reaching out to an attendee prospect, or I'm not reaching out to an attendee prospect when a larger sponsorship package might be in the works? You answered it a bit in Shannon's question, but our goals are actually different. So this isn't, so Kathy, let me make sure I'm getting this right. You are putting on an event and you are trying to recruit people to come as attendees, and you're trying to recruit companies to be sponsors. And if you're working with a company on a sponsorship thing, you don't want to be double hitting some of those people with like, hey, do you want to be a sponsor emails? And hey, do you want to be an attendee emails? That's really interesting. I think there is some pretty, I would definitely recommend, hold on a minute. Let me think through this, because it's especially, I like this question. It's a little complicated because you're not just talking about this person is a potential attendee and this person is a potential sponsor. You're talking about this person, like this company is a potential sponsor, and anyone who is in our industry but is not at one of these potential sponsors is an attendee. So it's not just like segmenting contacts. It's thinking of people who are related to a company in a particular way differently from those who are so I think here, let me just spitball here. I'm going to try to solve this on the fly. Sometimes that goes well, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to be transparent about that up front. So I think what I would do is I would create a contact-based list, and I would say potential sponsors. And probably what I would do is I would create a company property. You could use the target account property, or if you wanted to create a custom one that was like potential sponsor, you could use that in a few different ways. If you have different events, you could have, a potential sponsorship and then have a list of the events, and it could be a multiple checkboxes, right? We might want them to be a sponsor, or you could just have a simple yes, no, this company is a potential sponsor. So once we had that, I would come and create a contact-based workflow, and I would find a company property. I will use target account for this example because it exists. But I would say, so potential sponsor, you could say any company target account is equal to true, right? So these are now the people who work at companies that are potential sponsors. And we can save this list, right? So those are, we would want to segment it a little more based on job title or something to know whether or not those are the right people to reach out to. But to get to what you're talking about, if we go back to list, we can now create another list. And if we create a potential attendees list, I would say, I would probably start with either a contact property or company property for industry. Right? Anyone in this particular industry would probably be a good fit for whatever this event is. And then I would also do list membership. And I would say, what did I call it? Potential sponsors. I would say is not a member of the list, right? So now we are excluding all the potential sponsors from the potential attendees list. And now, you could use this in your email outreach. You could use this in your, a fun thing you can do. Sorry, my favorite thing is to get off in the weeds. And in these kinds of events, it's very hard for anyone to tell me to stop. You can, now that you have those lists, when you're filtering here, you can filter based on list membership, right? So if your sales reps are trying to figure out, potential sponsors or potential attendees, whichever one, they can just create a view based on that list. And now, I can enroll these people in a sequence, or I can make tasks to reach out to them, or whatever it is I want to do. So that's how I would do it. I would define your potential sponsors first, and then I would define a list of potential attendees who are in the right industry or match whatever things make a person an attendee, but is not in your potential sponsors list. And so you're excluding them, and then you can use that in your views here for your sales outreach. You can use it in your email sends. You can use it in your workflow automation. I think is how I would approach that. Love the buyer role property. I'm so sorry. It's taking me 15 minutes to respond to your comments here. I got to get better at multitasking. We created a custom buyer role option for a client so that the options were highly catered toward who they interacted with. It helped avoid confusion on the client side too. Yet, as much as possible, like HubSpot, on the one hand, I think it's kind of nice that we do things like default buyer roles and default deal stages, but in general, they are never exactly right for you, right? If you have a sales process that you've defined, or if you have an ABM strategy that you've defined, the defaults are not going to work for you. And I absolutely recommend changing them. Don't do the square peg and the round hole sort of thing. Customize it. So love that, Madison. I may have missed this, but what hub access is needed for target accounts? Is it sales professional at the hub level, or would it require paid sales professional access? Okay, Andres, that is a totally fair and very important question. I am consistently very bad at knowing these things off the top of my head. I love just all the time. I come to sales software pricing. You can see Chrome even remembers that I come here all the time. So this is Sales Hub. Oh, and the thing I was talking about earlier, there are these bundles. Don't sleep on those. You can get 5 hubs for the price of 3. It's awesome. But sales, if we go to see all features, and if we search for target accounts home, so the target accounts home page I showed you, the first thing I showed you, that's professional and enterprise. The target accounts property and the ideal customer profile tier and the buyer role properties, those ones I think come standard even in free and starter. But if they don't, it's easy enough to create them using custom properties. But the actual target counts home, and I think that might include the little sidebar on the company record I showed, is a professional feature. I think. Can you share best practices for thank you all for asking so many questions. This is awesome. I wasn't sure, like AMA, are they going to have questions? Or are we going to sit in silence? You're all doing splendidly. I'm having so much fun with you here today. Can you share best practices for dealing with company records with subsidiaries that people sell into, e.g. Planet Fitness has gyms in multiple locations, but a primary company domain, or any franchise type company? So there are 2 possible solutions here, Roman. And I have gathered that people have very strong opinions for and against either one. I don't. But I'll show you the 2 potential options, and hopefully you'll be able to see what works best for you. So let's go over to companies real quick. Just change over here. So let's just go with your example. I don't think I have Planet Fitness here. So we'll create a Planet Fitness. Are they just planetfitness.com? I'm going to guess that. Fitness.com. Yes, perfect. All right, this looks good. Okay, so here is our Planet Fitness record, right? So this is the record for Planet Fitness as a corporation. This is all of Planet Fitness. But to your point, there is a Planet Fitness probably just down the street from me in Boston somewhere. There are Planet Fitnesses all over the place. So we want to represent those. So one thing you can do is with related companies, you can add a child company. So I would have to add it already. So let's see if I did like, we'll do this. We'll create Planet Fitness Boston. right? There's probably more than one in Boston, but whatever. And so this is also planetfitness.com, I bet. And I'm going to create a new one. Great. Well, yeah, overly helpful here. Okay, so we're going to create a new one. And this is in Boston, Massachusetts. The number of employees is probably like 120 or something. And I require too many properties here. Okay, so now we have our two Planet Fitness things, right? So Planet Fitness Boston, we can add a parent company and we can just search for Planet Fitness. And we can select this. Now they are linked to each other in this way, right? And if I went to Planet Fitness over here and opened up their record, we would see this is a child company. And if we had Planet Fitness Cleveland and Planet Fitness Tehachapi is the name of the small town I grew up in California, we could just have those all here, and they would be related in that way. So that is, I would say, probably the best way to handle this right now. Actually, I'm gonna say this is the way to handle it right now. There was a second rabbit hole I was gonna go down, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that would work as well. So I'm gonna say this is the way to do it. If others here have strong opinions or have used child companies and like them or don't like them, I would love for you to weigh in the chat for Roman's behalf, whether there are any potential potholes I'm overlooking. But I think this is kind of the ideal use of the child company, parent-child relationship here. So I'm going to continue moving down the list. And if you have ideas for Roman, I'll get to them apparently in like 12 minutes. What Sales Hub tools are most helpful for sales managers needing to organize and monitor performance of geographic sales territories? Ooh, I like that a lot. So let me show you some stuff. So this forecasting dashboard I was talking about, you can organize this by team, right? Right now I'm seeing team A, but if we came over here, we could see team B. I think it would definitely be worthwhile if you have geographic sales teams to organize them into teams. So instead of team A, team B, you might have like team Cleveland and team whatever else, like however your territories are defined. And then, you can see how the team is performing at a high level, the whole team combined, what's their total combined quota and how are they progressing toward it. And then you can also click into it and see how individual team members are doing. I think that would be really good. And then also, I love, if we click this view report button, this will take you to the sales analytics tool. There is great stuff in this sales analytics tool. If you want to coach reps and teams, you can look at call outcomes, completed activities, deals created, tasks completed, deal change history, like historical snapshots. I know I'm kind of throwing a lot of stuff at you. I really love deal push rate. If you don't know what any of these reports are, my favorite thing is that we have this about this report sidebar here. And so I learn a lot about sales reporting just by reading the descriptions here. But deal push rate is how many times deals are getting pushed from one period to the next. So whether, it's quarterly or monthly or whatever, how many times, how often are your sales reps pushing deals back? I think that's a really powerful coaching tool because that might mean they're holding on to deals that are actually never going to close. All of these reports that you see here, you can come in, you can customize them, and look, you can have this for specific teams. And so this is just team A, right? I could also create one for team B. And then you can save these ports and put them on a dashboard, right? So you could have your Team Cleveland dashboard that has push rate and close rate and quota attainment and whatever else you want to coach reps on. And then you would just have this dashboard you could look at and you could see how is team A doing? And you could have the same dashboard for team B and for all your different regions that your reps are operating in. So as far as coaching goes, I think the forecast dashboard is a great home base for your coaching efforts, and you can look at individuals on teams and then also compare teams to each other. And then just in general, I love dashboards, and I think you should figure out which of these sales analytics matter to you, get them filtered down to exactly the way you want them to work, and then save them on dashboards. So you can look and see how the team is doing. You can have it broken down by rep and see like, man, this Kyle Jepson is closing a lot of deals, but he sure is pushing a lot of deals. Like all of his deals almost get pushed. What's up with that? So I think that would be my recommendation to you, Ashley. John, any advice on how to overcome sales reps' resistance to using Sales Hub? This seems to be a universal struggle across so many companies. Yeah, it's a universal struggle across CRMs in general. Like I said, we designed it initially to try to make it helpful and engaging and usable and enjoyable for reps to use. But no rep is really ever super excited to adopt a CRM. So there's kind of two different routes you can go. One is anything you can do to just integrate it into their normal daily workflow is going to be a win, right? So if you're using Gmail or Outlook, have them install the email extension, right? And then start pointing out like, hey, there's an email template in there so you don't have to type that thing out. Hey, look, you could drop a meeting link in there so they could book time with you, or you could put suggested times in. I think having those little places to start is going to be good. And then kind of on the opposite extreme, if you are adamant as a company that like all hands on deck, we are all in on HubSpot, you're going to make your calls from HubSpot, you're going to send your emails from HubSpot, you're going to do all these things, then I think setting them up with a lot of training is going to be a good idea. There's the HubSpot Sales Software Certification. It's like 2 hours long and it covers just about every tool inside of Sales Hub. That'll give them a pretty solid foundation. And then just having reporting and things to hold them accountable. It's always going to be tough. And there are partners and things in the HubSpot ecosystem who specialize in rep adoption. There is great content out there that if you have specific struggles that you're trying to overcome, I bet you could find answers to, but that I don't have off the top of my head. So I hope that's helpful. I know it's a little hand wavy, but those are kind of the two approaches, the two extreme approaches I can think of, and some combination of the two or some meeting in the middle will hopefully get you moving forward. What's the best way to use Sales Hub to send a prospect a quote? Should we rely on an app integration for that function? Macy, I love this question because when we first launched the quote feature inside Sales Hub, it was very, very lightweight, bare bones. It was like we were just attempting to be better than nothing, but we were very transparent about the fact that like we have great integrations with PandaDoc, for example, and like if you need really robust quoting. But now, I don't know that you need an integration. I just posted a video to LinkedIn today. We came out with this new. Let me show you this new template we came out with for quotes and proposals. Look at this. We'll just actually, I'm in the totally wrong place. This is not the right way to show you this. Rather than generating a quote, let me just show you the quote template. So we recently, a few months ago, gave you, this had never existed before. HubSpot just had these standard, original, basic, modern quote templates, and they were very, very basic, and you could not edit them at all. We just recently gave you the ability to customize quote templates if you have Sales Pro or Enterprise. But again, you just had these three basic ones, but now we have Flow. And Flow is this new template that is just like, I just love it so much. So there's a proposal one and a quote one. And proposals specifically is like a thing. If you're doing proposals, the answer was always like, yeah, go with PandaDoc or one of those guys. We have these really great integrations. It'll update inside HubSpot. You'll be great. But look, this is just the standard template for a proposal in Flow. This is my homemade janky logo, so don't let that turn you off. But it's lovely, right? You can include so much information here. You can make these subheadings whatever you want them to be because it's customizable. You can change the imagery to be whatever you want imagery to be. This is a lovely, really robust proposal thing. And you can have your line items and stuff here. You guys are in the US, so you have access to HubSpot payments. You can add a pay now button here right now. It just make it so nice and easy for people to do business with you, right? And to download and print this. The quote is also great, right? So this is a standard out of the box Flow quote template. And it has all these things on it, which are great. And if we wanted to customize this, for example, all of these things can be like this logo that is obnoxiously big. Like let's just kill it. Let's just get rid of it, right? And this text right here, we can customize all of this. which one should we customize? I don't know. Let's look at the terms, right? How about that? So you could have, when you generate a quote inside of HubSpot, you can have a field that the reps have to fill the terms in. That's where this personalization token pulls from. But if you just want to get rid of that and insert standard terms, standard terms that would go on everyone, you can do that. And this would just be totally unique to you and your company. So I think we may have just crossed the line where maybe you don't need an app integration. I don't know. I haven't used PandaDoc and DocuSign enough to know what sorts of special sauce they've got that HubSpot doesn't have. Certainly, since that's their whole business, they're going to have a deeper feature set than we do. But in general, I think now HubSpot will probably meet the needs of most small and mid-sized businesses who need to generate quotes and proposals just because of this. And then if you have CMS Hub, I forget what tier you need, but you can just create completely custom quote templates from scratch, right? So you can make it literally do whatever you want, and it can pull from all your CRM data, and that's pretty fantastic. But I don't know the CMS well enough to tell you how to do that. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. I've always been a little apologetic about quoting in HubSpot, and now it's like really great, and we have more features coming to it in the near future, and it's just going to get better and better. So that is my answer to you, Macy. Roman, Andres sent you a knowledge doc about parent-child relationships. So are you seeing anyone use Sales Hub to hold competitive intelligence? That's a great question, Samantha. I haven't really thought much about competitive intelligence. So I guess the answer is probably no. I'm trying to think where that would maybe even go. I can tell you, I assume I can tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. HubSpot, our own sales team for competitive intelligence stuff, uses Crayon. And I believe we have an integration with Crayon inside the ecosystem. I don't think Sales Hub necessarily has a great place to store that natively. I would love to hear if anyone here has successfully done that. Let Samantha know. Drop some comments in the chat. Apparently Andres is doing it. All right. Looks like you all are helping each other. Love that. Bye, Kathy. I assume you're already gone, but it was great having you here. Thanks for your questions. Okay, yeah. What's the most common mistake you see people make in Sales Hub? Ooh, I like that question, Madison. I would go back to the not customizing stuff. I really think you don't have to be a very big or a very sophisticated company to need your own defined deal stages, right? To need some custom properties, to need custom buyer roles. I really think that rather, like, HubSpot has a lot of really intelligent defaults, a lot of things that are really great, but I think the most important thing is to define these processes for yourself as a company, as a team, and then mold HubSpot to represent that. I think if you're using deal stages that don't quite match up with the actual sales process, it's going to make adoption harder. It's going to make reporting harder. It's going to make everything just kind of death by a million paper cuts. And if you can just customize it and smooth it out and make it represent your company, it's going to make everything better for you. Roman wants to know what my secret for maintaining such an incredibly high and engaging energy level during your training sessions and live sessions. I don't know. I just love HubSpot, you guys. Like, it just makes me so happy. And I'm so happy that there are people who want to come talk about it with me. It does it for me. Payments question. Yes, Emma. In the last 5 minutes here. Currently, I have to create a payment link for each item. And if there's any combination of items, that needs its own payment link. So 5 items need 120 separate links, any workarounds. That is the state of things right now. Again, I don't know. You're my friends here. I'm always going to err on the side of too much transparency. I am working pretty closely with the payments team. I've created a payments lesson. It is getting an update that'll be published in the next week or so for some new features there. I have pretty good eyes on their roadmap. I would predict that this problem will go away by inbound. I can't promise you that, but we just gave people the ability when they go into a payment link, when you're setting up your payment link and you're putting on line items, there's now a setting where you can allow, there's a checkbox to let people set their own quantity. So, they get to the checkout page and whatever quantity you put there will be the default, but they can push up and down arrows or just type in a number. The next iteration of that will be allow them to select their own products. So expect that to come. I expect payments to get a lot of love on the inbound stage. We're pushing very hard to get a lot of things out. But if that feature is not live by inbound, almost certainly by the end of the year, you will see a lot more flexibility there. But again, I don't think that's public knowledge, so maybe don't spread it around. Although this is being recorded, great. What's in your coffee, Kyle? Elizabeth asked. I actually am not a coffee drinker for religious reasons. I don't touch the stuff. And so it's just all natural. This is just who I am. So does this serve like an e-signature function? Macy, I don't know exactly what I was showing 6 minutes ago, but there is an e-signature option. I don't know offhand, it might be an enterprise feature, but we can collect e-signatures from these quotes. It's a checkbox you can turn on when you're generating the quote. I would show you that, but we're just about out of time. If you want to connect with me afterward, happy to talk about that more. Any tips for the right mix of self-service playbooks versus task-driven processes? Samantha, that's something I would love to connect with you about and talk about a little more. Because we have like 2 minutes left. I'm sorry. Well, that was my initial thought too. I thought, wow, I'm so pleased that Kyle actually is. Yeah, this is, what you see is what you get. This is just what I am like. Cool. I think I got through all the questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You all, everyone, this was delightful. This was so much fun for me. Thank you for the steady stream of questions. I was petrified. I was just going to sit in silence for an hour. And that is not, like, I am good at energy. I'm not good at silence. So thank you so much for making this so engaging. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a direct message. If you have questions I didn't fully answer, if you have other questions you want to ask, happy to set up a quick Zoom call and just brainstorm stuff. This is what I do for fun. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Kyle. It was such a pleasure to have you here. I think this is going to have to be an annual presentation. So
I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah, put us in your calendar for Q2 2023.
Perfect. I'll be back next June.
Thank you again so much. And thank you everyone who joined us today as well. I just dropped my email address in the chat. So if you have any questions or recommendations or suggestions for future Hug events, please let us know. Madison, love that idea. More sessions with Kyle. Yes, I'm on board. But thank you again, everyone, for your time. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. Thanks again, Kyle.
Bye, everyone.